I'd like to call this meeting to order, the organizational meeting of the Board of Education. I'll be acting as temporary chair for a short period of time. Will everybody in attendance please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to thank everybody for attending this evening. First item of business is to approve the agenda. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented with one change, and that would be to move item A under the consent agenda to a separate item. Are there any other changes that the board would like to make prior to approval? Okay, can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended? So moved. By Todd, second by Lee. Any questions or objections? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries 6-0. I forgot to mention all directors are in attendance with the exception of Director Murray. Next, I'll call for the nominations for school board chair for 2012. Do we have any nominations for board chair? Yes.
I'd like to nominate Lee Shimmick for board chair.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close nominations and cast a unanimous ballot.
So moved.
By Tom, second.
Second.
By Todd. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries 6-0. Congratulations, Lee. And I'll let you have.
Okay, then moving on to vice chair. I'll call for nominations for school board vice chair for 2012. Would anyone like to?
I'd like to nominate Todd Sorensen.
Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close nominations and cast a unanimous ballot for Todd Sorensen to be board vice chair for the year 2012.
Make that motion.
By Eric, second.
Second.
By Stacy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 6-0. Now I'll call for nominations for the office of school board clerk treasurer for 2012. Would anyone like to make a nomination?
I'll make a nomination for Stacy Ruel.
Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close nominations and cast a unanimous ballot for Stacy Ruel to be board clerk treasurer for the year 2012.
So moved.
Motion by Tom, second.
Second.
By Todd. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries 6-0. Okay. Before we move on, I just want to make a comment and thank Eric for your strong leadership this past year. Eric, you challenged the board as well as our superintendent and administrators to grow to the next level. And I think your intention is to make the school district one of the top in the state, and I appreciate your efforts in that regard and hope that you'll help me to keep us on that same path.
Thank you.
So thank you. Thank you for all your work. Moving on then to our consent agenda. Taking A off, right? We designate the official school district legal newspapers to be the Prior Lake American of Prior Lake, Minnesota, and the Savage Pacer of Savage, Minnesota, as the official school district legal newspapers. Name the firm of Ehlers and Associates as the school district fiscal consultants. Name the law firms of Knutson, Flynn, and Deans, as well as Radwick, Rozak, and Maloney as the school district legal counsel. Name the auditing firm of Larson Allen LLP as the school district auditing firm. Name Julie Sink, Director of Business Affairs, to perform the clerical duties of the board clerk treasurer pursuant to Minnesota Statute 123B.14 and shall be named Assistant Board Clerk Treasurer. Authorize Dr. Sue Ann Groover, Superintendent of Schools, and Julie Sink, Director of Business Affairs, to lease, purchase, and contract for goods and services within the budget as approved by the board, provided that any transaction in the amount exceeding the minimum amount for which bids are required must first be authorized by the board and must fulfill other applicable requirements pursuant to Minnesota statutes governing municipal contracting, and that informal quotation be required when possible for all purchases exceeding $25,000. Designate the school district special education coordinator, federal programs coordinator, district LEA, ESEA programs, and data practices compliance officer. We designate Doug Kern as the school district special education coordinator, Julie Sink as the school district's federal programs coordinator, Jeff Holmberg as district LEA, ESEA programs, and Matt Munz as data practices compliance officer. Delegate Julie Sink, Director of Business Affairs, the authority to make electronic transfers and in addition the appropriate documentation, including written confirmation from the financial institution and proper request and approval form for the transfer shall be retained by the Director of Business Affairs. Direct the administration to publish the annual notification of rights, protection, and privacy of student records in the official newspapers of the district. The board compensation is requested to be approved for the 2012 year. Current compensation is as follows: $4,000 per year plus $20 per meeting for official standing committee assignments as appointed by the chair, with the exception of certified negotiator, which will be compensated at $50 per meeting. The board chair shall receive an additional $300. The board clerk treasurer receives an additional $200, and the board vice chair receives an additional $200 for service during the year. School board member compensation shall be paid semi-annually at the request of the individual member. Committee meeting reimbursement shall be paid once at the completion of the year of service.
Excuse me, Board Chair. We're beyond.
Is that on the, I'm sorry, that's on the consent? It's on a roll. Okay, I guess I need to do that part. But,
So we will remove,
so I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
can we make sure that documented we remove number 7 from the consent agenda
Yes.
that you read?
With,
Thank you.
number 7.
Thank you.
That's on a roll here. So moved. Motion by Stacy, seconded by Rich.
Seconded?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 6-0. Now on to board compensation, which I've just read.
There. A.
Yes, I'll do board compensation since I already started. Got too many papers here. Is there any discussion on board compensation?
I have one question.
Yes.
What's the official, that you, in the agenda there, you refer to official standing committees? Which committees are official standing committees?
They are listed on our committee list here. Those standing committees, under board committee assignments.
Now, just the ones on the first page, right? Standing school board committees?
Yes, where it says standing school board committees. Facilities, certified and administrative personnel committee, educational support staff, personnel committee, transportation committee, finance committee, policy committee, and I believe that's it.
Okay. So there's no compensation then for district-wide committees?
No.
Yes, there is some for that.
For district-wide?
I believe it's in the policy.
Well, and I do believe you're right that it's in the policy. I just want to make sure that we have our ducks in a row, I guess, is a word.
Okay, that will need to be added to board compensation then, with the standing committees and,
Just that we make sure that we're voting on the same, because when I saw official
District-wide.
standing committee, I had some confusion about which, yeah.
we'll get that clarified on board compensation.
Madam Chair, can I make a motion to approve the board compensation consistent with standing policy?
Yes. Do I have a second for that? A second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 6-0. Then we'll go back up to A. And this will be a separate item. We'll name Prior Lake State Bank, U.S. Bank of Prior Lake, Commerce Bank, Wells Fargo Bank, Wells Fargo of Minneapolis, Minnesota School District Liquid Asset Fund Plus, and PMA Financial Network for depositories for school district funds. Do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
By Rich.
Second.
I'm sorry, by Todd. Any comments or questions?
I think we need to add Commerce Bank into the banks.
It's in there.
I thought that was changed, but you see Commerce Bank is missing, which is
No,
the
it-
bank that we
Actually, it is on our.
It's on our
agenda.
It's on agenda.
Oh, it is, okay, thank you, sorry.
Thank you. I could have missed it. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
One abstention.
That motion carries 5-0 with one abstention. Okay, now moving on to board committee assignments. I propose that, for the most part, the board committee assignments remain the same for this upcoming year. With new board members, I think it's important that they have more than 1 year on the committee to gain that experience. And with very few exceptions, we have kind of a balance on our committees right now with some older board members or more experienced board members and some of the newer board members. So I don't foresee much for change. There's a couple items. One is the Laker Pride correspondence. I would like to see that committee become the role of the vice chair. And I believe Todd would be interested in doing that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And building rep, there's been some discussion. We would like to add to the building rep list that the Bridges ALC be a standalone school recognized with a board rep. And we've had some discussion about people that are interested in that, and I believe Tom is still interested in doing that.
Yep.
And the only other discussion item is our facilities committee. I've been informed that because we're facilities, we're not in a building mode, that there may not be a need for 3 board members on that committee. However, I'm deferring to the facilities committee to give some feedback and make some decision on that, as I'm not a member of that committee.
I know in the past, I know with Eric, it's been sometimes difficult for you to get, it was difficult for you to get to these meetings, so it was nice having 3 people there. That way, for sure, we had at least 1 member of the committee at the meetings. I don't know about schedules with Todd and Rich, if they'll be able to make all the meetings. I know, Rich, you mentioned that you would like to be on the committee, so it might be. I'm sorry.
No, I think 3 might be fine, as we may have some capital decisions to make with the 5-year capital plan in the next year.
And with the
Technology, yep.
Also, that would be at our next meeting. So there will always be, although we're not building, we will still have the issues of maintenance of our buildings, as well as our innovations and moving ourselves forward as a district with good facilities behind us.
We can also, if 3 is too many in the future, we can come together and vote. So there's only 2, is that correct?
Right,
So-
that can always be changed if we see that there's not a need.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll go forward with facilities with Tom, Todd, and Rich. Eric, you're all right with that?
That's fine.
Any other discussion on board committees?
One, because currently I have 5 Hawks and Red Tail Ridge, and if I take and if I'm going to be the rep for the ALC, I think 3 schools might be a little bit much. And I don't know if Rich would, or somebody would be willing to take on 5 Hawks.
That would be fine.
Okay, you would take that on,
I only have 1, so you might do it.
and I have the high school, and that's plenty. It's really fun. Okay, so Rich, you'll take
5 Hawks, yeah.
Okay, and he will take the other one. And then the technology committee, that has been you, Tom. And you're considering turning, or, well, that's.
What?
technology, fortunately, technology is intertwined with our curriculum, our finance, and facilities. But when there are special projects, if we have board representation, that seems to be helpful. So I'm not sure if you want to keep that. Rich, you've indicated you're interested in that.
In the building?
No.
The technology, when that topic may come
Oh,
up as
that's fine, yes.
standalone.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay,
With
Art-
me.
Art, Tom, are you all right with that?
I would like to add, on the technology, I'd like to stay on there through this year. I know that Rich and I were talking about it, but it could be my last year.
That'd be fine with me.
And then,
So we'll keep you on technology when projects come up that are specifically for that committee. Okay, any other? Rich?
If I may. Just a note to the policy committee that in the policy it refers to it as the building committee. And do we want to come up with another name for facilities besides building? Or officially change the name to facilities?
I might recommend that we take that away to the policy committee and have policy committee look at it as part of their normal review. But I think it's a valid request.
And we already have some inconsistencies, so we'll look at those policies and make sure that they match up.
Yeah, we can look at it. That's next meeting. 19th, yeah.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the board committee assignments as we've discussed?
So moved.
By Todd, second?
Second.
By Stacy. Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 6-0. Regarding the discussion of meeting and procedures format for the board, we've had some brief discussions about changing our format to possibly one official meeting a month and going with more of a workshop situation or participation the other meeting of each month. And during that time, possibly having some discussion on, the different committees, what's pertinent on a certain committee as it comes up. And what I'm looking for tonight is kind of a go-ahead from all of you as to whether that's something that we want to pursue, and if so, if we could do that on January 23rd, which is our next meeting, knowing that possibly we may need to have a brief meeting to approve possible personnel or whatever might come up between now and then, because this is kind of short notice for it. And I'm asking for that go-ahead, that's okay. And also to state that it would be very important that administration is at that work session, because if we do this, the burden is then on all of you to bring things forward to the board in a timely fashion so that we don't have something that's starting before we've had a chance as a board to look at it. And that will be critical as we go forward to make sure that that's something you're able to do. Okay? Any other comments about possibility?
You probably just want to make notice that it is open to the public and it is a standard meeting that they are invited to attend.
Yes, it's a work session, but it
Yep.
is open to the public, yes,
Yep.
because we'll be meeting in more than a quorum.
Yes, we have a quorum.
Or a
It's
quorum,
open.
I guess.
Yep.
The time I suggested was 5 p.m., but in a conversation I had with you earlier, you thought maybe if we have to have a brief meeting, have that at 5 and then follow with the work session?
We could do it either way. If we have to have, if we need to have a formal meeting, call the meeting to order to make a decision on some topic that is timely and we can't wait another 2 weeks, then we would call the meeting to order at either the beginning or at the end of the work study session. So it can go at either time. I was just thinking in courtesy of Kofi, who does the technology, would be nice to do it at the beginning of the meeting versus at the end. But we can do it at any time as long as we give notice. So those are the kinds of things we will figure out on the 23rd.
Yes. So I guess my suggestion is that we have a workshop starting at 5 o'clock on the 23rd, and if there needs to be a meeting, we'll have that at 7. on the
Is 5 o'clock too early for
That
people
was
to?
my next question. That's
That
the-
seems,
It's fine for the 23rd, and then we can discuss the schedule, I think, at the workshop is what might
Okay.
work best.
Okay, how about everyone else? 5 o'clock work? Okay, this doesn't take a vote. Any other comments?
Lee, I guess I would just ask, I mean, I know we've talked about this before, but, I mean, there are other districts our size that do the same types of format. I mean, we
Yes.
looked at that, right? I mean,
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I just want, I mean, it seems to me it's like a trend, I mean, not the trend, but that this is almost more the norm.
Right, we're not
From what we're
really
doing.
breaking new ground here. And there are districts much bigger than ours that do this across. It can be done. Any other comments? Okay, then we'll move on. In-service discussion, I guess that would apply to our work sessions. If there are board members that would like to see certain things on the work sessions, and this is something we can discuss on the 23rd as well, but just to keep in mind that a lot of times work sessions take some time to prepare for, and especially for our administrators to bring the appropriate information so that we can have good discussions. So if you're thinking that there's a topic that you're going to want to bring forward, keep in mind that there needs to be some time for it. So a couple of weeks warning at least would be helpful. But we can discuss that further on the 23rd. Any other comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn the organizational meeting.
So
Need a
moved.
motion to change the meeting on the 23rd?
To change it? What do you mean?
Well, it's posted on our public calendar as a business meeting
At 7.
at
Isn't it?
7. So do we need a motion to change the calendar, the board calendar?
Well, I think tentatively we keep that meeting right now at 7, but it may be a short meeting, because we'll do the workshop first.
I thought we were doing the meeting first based on Dr. Gerber's discussion.
I think the first one, we should keep it this
Okay.
way. if
That's fine.
okay. Okay?
Sorry, I misunderstood.
Do you have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
By Todd, second by
Seconded.
Rich. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
Here.
We're adjourned to start the regular meeting at 7.
Hit the hammer.
Peter shows
Hit the hammer. Get the hammer, man.
On the first draft that came out, it shows
No, I
7.
understand, on that,
Here's what I did.
but our official.
Official.